climb aboard. This is the Miles to Go podcast. And now here's your host, Ed Pizza.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Miles to Go podcast. Mr. Kerr is doing very weird things behind the camera, but he is teasing that we are going to do an episode in the very near future about what's in our wallets to try and catch up on that stuff. As we sit here recording late Sunday night, Mr. Kerr, you just got back from a camping trip, didn't you?
I did. It was awesome. We spent the last 3 nights in Hiawassee, Georgia, which is right on the North Carolina border, about as far north in the state as you can go, at the world fabulous and world famous KOA holiday, Hiawassee.
World famous.
Man, we had a great time. The highest point in Georgia, Brasstown Bald. Have not been there since I was in so we took the kids over there and checked it out. Pretty cool the way they got it set up. You can drive all the way up the ridiculously steep mountains to a parking lot they have, and from there you have to set out on foot, or you can wait on a shuttle. But a crazy crowd over the holiday weekend, so we set out on foot. I didn't think Mary Thomas were going to make it. It was a steep climb up the path. I'll be honest, they had asphalt down on this path. I have no idea how they got that done, but it was really cool. And then yesterday I put the TV up by the campsite by the fire, and man, we did nothing but the kids played putt-putt and went on the jumping pillow and made friends like they do at campgrounds. And I sat by the fire and had a few adult beverages, and it was just absolutely fantastic and much needed. And
I like it.
I had to come home today, and I'm sad, but it was good, man.
When's the next camping trip?
This weekend. We are. Yeah, I know. So Emily and I are doing a 10K on Sunday down at the Callaway Gardens. So this is a place that has the world's largest drive-through Christmas light display, and I grew up going to this every year, kind of in the local area here where we grew up. It's actually really awesome. And one night a year they shut it down to cars, and they do a 10K through the Christmas light display. The state park that we like to camp at is right next to this. So we popped on this afternoon. We got home, and like the best campsite in the whole campground that is taken like a year in advance all the time, right on the lake. That's like your private little parking spot. It is open for next weekend when we had to be down there anyway. So we scooped it up, man. So we are out of here again on Friday, back to the woods.
Count me in.
Well,
No.
Don't worry. I like first class as much as the next person, but I also like being out amongst the trees with man. I don't know. It's completely relaxing and takes all the stress out when I'm just sitting there by the fire watching a football game with a beer and not worried about a thing in the world. It's just my happy place.
I like it. Except for the camping part.
Except for everything about that, I like it.
I like that you're happy, Mr. Kerr. What can I say? That's about as far as I can go there.
Yeah, only 3 things broke this time, so you know.
Yeah,
good.
only three.
We had some really steep mountains to get up a few places, and I watched Mrs. Kerr white knuckle it while I was driving and did everything I could to mess with her a little bit more.
Nice. By the way, as a brief aside, if you are watching on video, then you saw me with my little salute to our buddy Howie with some Topo Chico there. So,
dude, I gotta go over and restock, man. My beverage fridge in the garage is incredibly empty right now. I gotta
that's a problem.
Take care of that.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
We are sponsored again this week by Thrifty Traveler Premium. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We've also got a listener question. We're going to talk about a pretty cool Bilt dining promo that I'm trying to figure out how to make work. Southwest offering lounge access.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Okay. So yeah, and then we're going to talk a little bit about a Black Friday deal that's no longer available, more just because I want to ask your opinion about why it exists. So a bunch of stuff on the list. I'd also say, just as a brief note for folks, so I don't forget it, because I meant to mention it. You know, everybody talks about earn and burn as the strategy, and I just, I've always been a hoarder of many things, but points and miles are definitely one of those things on the list. I always keep a pretty good batch of them, and the full backstory behind this, but short backstory was, unfortunately, I had to attend a funeral this week. Traveling over Thanksgiving, as you might imagine, is a little expensive, and
a little bit. So for perspective, it was going to cost me a little over $1,800 round trip per ticket to go to the funeral, and 26,500 United miles later, when I used some airplane points for the other ticket, which was roughly the same number with a little bit more cash component because they charged a little bit more cash, I had 2 tickets. So it's why I keep a stash of miles and points for, whatever last minute sort of stuff. This just happened to be for a sad one, but I mean, college tours, last minute, oh my gosh, I want to go watch a, college football game. Somebody gave me tickets, or like me trying to come down to Houston to catch that football game with you when Bill did the promo. Like, that's why I keep a pile of miles and points, because even though it's a lot harder to find the best deals now, there's still times where the airlines are selling a ticket for a disgustingly large amount of money, and literally United had saver inventory on their website.
Doesn't make sense, but I'm down with it.
Love to see it. I find Americans still the best at last minute deals, which is why I keep a healthy stash of American Miles, because last minute, you got, not always, but you got your best chance, I feel like, on American. So I love when that happens, man. And I certainly keep a stash of, I call it 100,000. I will never go underneath 100,000 ultimate reward balance, just for situations like that where I know we got to get somewhere. Somebody's got to get home from Europe, like you'll be able to do with ultimate rewards, 100,000 at least.
Like our buddy Howie had to do, just yesterday. He got like turned, but what? More on that in a future episode. Maybe we'll have him on to talk about how much fun that was.
Yeah, he should recap what happened in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. For folks who are just tuning in, you can leave us a voicemail or text us at 571-293-6659. We did have a voicemail. It's a little bit long. Loved it, though. It was an awesome voicemail from Hannah about Bilt. And we're going to just work on cutting the audio down a little bit to get it squeezed onto a future episode. But thank you so much for leaving that. And if you want to leave us a voicemail, please leave it. We'll be happy to talk about it, answer questions, and or play it on the air. You can find him on all those social media places at Kerr Points. You can find me at Pizza in Motion. And if you want to email us, ed@pizzainmotion.com is where you can shoot those questions, and we will do our best to answer them on the show. Speaking of which, we've got a listener question right here. This actually came from our Slack community, and you can find a link to that in the show notes. It's a way for you to support the show for a few bucks a month. We also have happy hours there and giveaways, and we answer questions for folks. This question, the reason why I picked it out, Richard, was because I think some folks don't know how valuable Frontier status can be, and you've talked about this. So, just from a high level standpoint, Colby asked about the Frontier status match, and he said, for the 100K level, which is Frontier's top tier, do you get a free seat assignment and a free bag every single time you book?
Yeah, you do, as well as up to 8 people on the same PNR with you.
Is it 8? I thought it was 4. It's 8. Wow.
Yeah, it's so many, man. It's such a good deal. And soon to be, I think they're rebranding it Diamond status in 2024. What 100K becomes Diamond? I think Diamond or Platinum, one of those. Apologies, Frontier folks. But I'm going to have it, whichever one. We were saying, you said before the show, the same thing that I've always been thinking, like, how in the world are they making money off of me, man? Because, I said it before, here in 2 weeks, the whole family of 4 is flying round trip Atlanta to MCO. I think it was $153 total for 4 round trip with check bag, with carry on, with the best seats on the plane both ways. Like, I don't even, should I go take a gas, or should I just fly round trip for the family of 4 to Orlando with everything included? I think it's absolutely fantastic. If the one thing that they have to fix, and I don't think they're going to, so whatever, so they don't have to fix it, but Wi-Fi on the plane, man. Like, if it had Wi-Fi like Spirit, I would be doubling down even more. But we have places picked out. Once a month we're going to fly somewhere, because we always want to go take the kids to the mountains to see the snow times. It's $29 per person to Denver. Like, okay,
yeah,
here we go. Like, it's on the calendar. So yeah, you get everything. Up 8 people on the same PNR, and I actually just used one of the free refundable changeable, no change fee. You just pay fair difference if there is any, including a free discount Den pass, which is included, so you get the lowest tickets on it. Yeah. And then you can do the kids fly free thing if you're booking on routes today. So
yeah, there's a lot of stacking there, right?
On and on and on and on, and then there's an Amex offer for spend $200 and get $50 back. So like after my next ticket, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's just like, it's the best thing in the world. I've been telling everybody about it. There was an Amex offer. It's on there. Yeah. You probably still might have it on some of your cards. So spend $200, get 50 back. So went ahead and bought that next ticket to Denver, get another $50 off of that. It's just wild, man. It is the best deal in U.S. aviation, and everybody should go check it out.
And I'm still stumped, like you said. With the base tickets as cheap as they are, I guess they view the status match opportunities as marketing. You and I talking, just like you and I talking about it right now, because they're never going to make money off of you as a customer. No. It's just not. You're getting all the ancillaries for free, and the tickets are dirt cheap. And they're an airline that's based largely on being able to sell stuff. So unless you're buying, I don't think they have buzz balls, but unless you're buying their equivalent of a buzz ball on board, then they're losing money on you. And you're too cheap to buy a buzz ball.
I deal back on Spirit, man. Back on Spirit, I used to buy me a buzz ball on every flight, but now I think they're like $11 or something. Like, geez, okay, I'm now $11 in. No, I think I had, because this is my second time I've done it, I think I was $199 all in up front. So they made $200 off of me, assuming some people won't use it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great play for marketing costs, because here I am talking about all the time and telling anybody who will listen about why they got to go status match to Frontier and do this thing, because it's awesome, and it's going to be a huge gateway in 2024. And even the rest of this year for my family to go see and do some cool stuff. And if you haven't looked at their route network, like their route network from Atlanta is fantastic. I mean, they fly to San Juan, Puerto Rico. They go to Mexico. I think they even go to Jamaica still nonstop. Like, dude, you can get some places for nothing, and it is just fantastic. So I know everybody, whatever you poo-poo on Frontier, I don't care. That's whatever. It's the exact same freaking 3x3 seat that you're going to sit in anyways. Download a podcast like your old buddies, Richard and Ed, listen to Miles Ago and you'll be there in no time. And that's it. Like, it doesn't matter. It's all the same stuff. Like, you sit down, you listen or watch something, and you're there. And voila.
Yeah, other than the Wi-Fi. I need the Wi-Fi.
You got to work, but I have to work too, but I don't know. I'll just take the day off or download it. Yeah, I fell back down the rabbit hole of Game of Thrones. You ever watch Game of Thrones?
I know why it's popular, but I'm still 17 years behind on TV.
Yeah, don't do it. You never will, because you just don't have any time. Neither do I, but I've watched the whole series years ago, and somehow I got back into it on this camping trip, and now I'm like, Ted coming. I'm gonna waste another hour of sleep tonight watching another episode. So don't fall down the Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah, for me, like, the chances, if I do actually get a chance to watch TV, the old guy in me will likely rewatch West Wing or The Shield, which to me are the two best shows in television history.
West Wing is fantastic. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. But there's just so much new stuff, and I'm way behind whatever the new kids these days are watching.
Yeah.
Like, I still haven't watched Succession, or what's the other freaking thing? Like, I haven't watched.
I don't know why you're asking me. Yeah, you have to tell me all these stuff and how you got to put this on your list, and I'm like, yeah, great, it's on the list.
You haven't even watched Ted. Have you watched Ted Lasso at least? Oh yeah, man. All right, you're terrible. All right,
I am terrible.
All right, I got one more. I got another question for you. Got a big question for you.
How
many Black Friday deals did you take advantage of?
A lot. Well, I mean, maybe not a lot, but it's funny because I wasn't going to bring this up, but you said you had this text to me, and
my answer is still the same as the text.
Yeah, I'll get the verbiage because I vehemently disagree. Oh, actually, I think it was in the Howie thread where you said that you said 0 because there are no deals on Black Friday. I think was exactly what you said.
So that's obviously a little bit of over exaggeration, but I looked at and I vaguely scrolled Twitter to see what was up on Black Friday. I vaguely scrolled the websites I search at, but there was nothing that I took advantage of or even remotely paid attention to. And I'm sure there are some good deals and stuff out there. My experience with things like Prime Day, whatever, is like the stuff that is for sale. I've seen it cheaper or whatever. And I know you have. What's the website that you recommend?
Camel's the best, man. I showed it. My wife apparently either didn't remember or I'd never showed her because she saw Camel today and her eyes went like bug-eyed. So
what's cheaper?
Yeah. What Camel does is it will, and I think it's just camel.com. It will track an item for you on Amazon, and it will tell you when the price drops below whatever price alert level you want to set. It's free to set up an alert. There might not be unlimited alerts, but I usually don't have a ton going. But I'll track things. Normally, like my strategy, and I don't do a ton of work before Black Friday or Cyber Monday, like our buddy Summer probably does, a hot minute of it. But I take things I know the kids want, certain Lego sets, or my daughter's a big Taylor Swift fan. We knew we wanted to replace the GE Opal Nugget Ice machine that died on us. And so I put all that stuff on a list. I load it into Camel. And then I look on Black Friday. And I'll look around other places, too, to compare prices. Amazon typically has the lowest prices for most things, although there are a couple things that are cheaper on Walmart Plus, which is a hard pass for me. But anyway, at that point, I know if it's been lower or not. So there were a few things that we were like on the edge about buying. Also, too, as you well know, like Black Friday and Cyber Monday are huge days for shopping portals. And so Rakuten, however you want to pronounce it, they had 10% cash back. Undoubtedly, I'm sure they'll have something for Cyber Monday as well. We're recording this before all the Cyber Monday deals are out. A bunch of the airline portals had bonuses, stuff like that. So if Amazon has the exact same price as, like, for example, we bought a dog collar, and Amazon had the same price as another site did, and Rakuten offered cash back on it. So, I got to factor in how many Ultimate Rewards points I would earn if I used an Amazon gift card. But at 10% cash back, I'll take 10% cash back. And Rakuten pays out reliably. I've had some issues with the Capital One shopping portal. But Camel will tell me, hey, like, this is the lowest that this collar has been for the past year, or it's lower than normal. And so if it's lower than normal, then it's almost surely a plus. You're like, yep, got to buy it, to your point about, is it a Black Friday deal? If it's the same price it's been 5 or 6 times throughout the year, it sort of depends on what our budget is. And that's why I just, leave the alert set on Camel to tell me if I should be buying stuff.
I think this goes to, it's fun. At the campground, they had hay rolls like that you see out in the farm pasture field, and they were painted in Christmas. Like one was painted like a Christmas tree, and it's funny. You can be like, how is a hay roll a Christmas tree? But I guarantee you've seen it before. But walking out, she saw one that was a Grinch this morning, and she was like, "Dad, what's a Grinch?" And I was like, "Well, like the movie The Grinch that this looks like, but there's somebody that's just kind of always in a bad mood." Or a funny joke here in our family is when the kids are being fussy or in a bad mood, and I call them sour pusses. I'm like, somebody that's always a sour puss is a Grinch. And then she was like, she's kind of laughing, and she was like, "Are you kind of a Grinch about Christmas, Dad?" And I was like, No. Here's the deal. And I think this is why,
I love her.
Here's kind of what and it's just maybe it's getting my old age, and I'm not old. I'm only 37. But like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Travel Tuesday, the fact that you walk into a Costco in August and the Christmas stuff is for sale. Like, I feel like the holidays have been ruined by over commercialization, where it's just about buy stuff and get stuff and give stuff and stress and obligations and do this and that. And like, it has gotten to the point in the last 2 years where I just don't like what the holidays have become, which is why I try really hard to, like, this December, like, I have said no to like 5 things that we usually do. And like, I hope, knock on wood, I'm sure it's going to come back, but I hope I'm done with travel to New York. And I didn't pay attention to Black Friday. Like, I don't care, man. Like, I just don't want to, I don't want any more, like, my parents cannot say like, "I love you this dollar worth," or like, I can't tell Emily or the kids, "I love you this dollar worth." Like, going on a camping trip for the weekend is way more fun and important to me that we did this as a family. We're going to do it again next weekend than like all this stuff that Christmas has become about. So I didn't mean to go up on a soapbox here, but like, I think that was another, I think it was another reason that I was sitting at the campsite and I was like, "Oh, I should see what Black Friday's on." And I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, I'm not going to buy any more stuff. And I look over at Emily and she's like, "Hey, I did this and this, and I got this and I got this." I'm like, "Okay," like, you do your girlfriend, but like, and that's why and like, we talked about that this weekend. And I think that's why Mary was like, "Are you a Grinch about Christmas?" I was like, "No, let me just like, let me tell you how I feel about the holidays now."
Well, and I definitely would agree on the over commercialization part. I think, at least from my standpoint, I mean, obviously, we probably buy too much stuff for our kids, but I don't go into Black Friday or Cyber Monday really looking for new deals. I usually start, like, I keep a list throughout the year. And if something goes lower than the normal price that I would hope to see, then I'll jump. And if not, then, I if something comes across my feed, like I happen to see from someone, I wish I could remember who, because I want to make sure I give them credit, but I don't remember. Oh, it was Miles to Memories. They had a note about you get a $15 Amazon promotional credit if you buy an Apple gift card. Okay. Took me 45 seconds to do that. So I did that. That's sort of like my level of stuff. Why? Because, sure, I'll use the $100 gift card, no problem. And I'll take a free $15. But that's, sort of like as far as I go into, extreme stacking. There was a great post that Frequent Miler had about extreme stacking, and I don't have the patience for most of it.
Dude, I used to hammer that stuff, man. That was like my butter. Like 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
How can I just smash this deal? And I think if there is something that I am going after, then I will figure out how to smash it. And I say this now because, like, literally an hour ago, I saw an Amex offer for Walmart Plus. It was like $98 Walmart Plus subscription, get $40 back. And I was like, all right, Emily's been dying to get back on Walmart Plus. Why? I don't know, but she just is. I think it's because she doesn't have to actually go in the Walmart store, which she's allergic to, but she can get stuff delivered. So I was like, all right, I'll do this. And then, like, because you do that, you get the Cyber Monday deal. And like, now they have this, well, Thomas listens to the podcast with me sometimes, so I can't say exactly what it is, but they have something tomorrow on Cyber Monday that is actually legitimately a good deal for like a little thing that I know he would go crazy over for Christmas. So like, looking at this thing, that it's like half price of what I know this thing costs because I walked into the store in New York City and everywhere else online, like that kind of stuff. Like, okay, fine. But I don't know, man. I just thought, what we did this weekend, I think I put some stuff on my Instagram stories. We went to the Georgia Mountain Fairgrounds in Hiawassee, Georgia. People, you have to go look up this
sounds
stuff.
Not fun at all.
And they had Mountain Christmas. And a Mountain Christmas in Hiawassee, Georgia is like, they have the fairgrounds decorated with like walk-through Christmas lights and stuff. But they got a petting zoo, and then they got the Cowtown USA free cow milking lessons. So you go and sit down on your milk jug, and every 20 minutes lady comes out and teaches you how to milk a cow. And I'm like, please just no. This is the best thing ever. And then you go get some wassail. Do you know what wassail is? Have you ever had a hot cup of wassail?
Oh, just stop. Just stop. No, please just stop.
You get everybody look up wassail. It's like a mulled wine kind of deal, but without the wine, because Southern Baptists don't do booze. But you get like it's got like the oranges with the cloves stuck in it with like some apple cider and wassail. Get your cup of wassail, man, and like the funny like pictures, and like Emily and I looking at each other like, some of the things and people that just walk around, man. It's just like
You're so sad.
telling you people, you got to get outside
You
your
are a
comfort
sad
zone.
human. You are a sad
Go
human.
see the best. But that's awesome. So I don't know, man. So maybe I'll check out what's going on Cyber Monday. And then I know there were some good travel deals. The Air Tahiti Nui Pass that was going semi-viral, where it was like $250. What was it? $1,500 for 4 round trip long haul flights that you could buy.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
And there's only 250 available.
Yeah, there was definitely some hair on that deal, but it was an interesting deal.
Yeah, interesting deal. Lots of marketing. Like that's the reason that you do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Compared to like everything else we see from the major hotel chains that are like save up to 20% on Black Friday. Like you and I know that's not a legit deal. Like,
well, this actually goes to one of the deals that you and I were going to talk about during the show. You know, TAP Air Portugal had round trip business class flights for Black Friday sale for $1,200 round trip, which, I mean, look, TAP is one of those airlines that is not as widely popular as others, but they're a great way to get to Europe, and they have the support of the Portuguese government to allow stopovers in Lisbon and Porto. And while I don't love paying cash, to be clear, you know, had I had the wherewithal to be, I couldn't be on for this sale, unfortunately, but I would have crushed this for meetings I had next year, because it's a killer fare, and their business class is great. So like, I love seeing those sorts of marketing things that are actual deals that are part of Black Friday. And that one, at least from talking to a couple of folks, like it didn't seem like it was gone in a heartbeat. Like you could find stuff. So, you know, those are the sorts of things I think that are worth investing a little bit of time for.
They came out, I think about a year ago, TAP announced that they were actually going to fly to Atlanta nonstop, which shocked everybody because there's only a couple of Star Alliance transatlantic deals here. I need to look up what's going on with that, because I mean, I've seen their throne seat and everything, and I see these deals, and I know that their loyalty program has all kinds of deals, and they clean up the Freddies every year for their loyalty program. So I need to see if they're still planning on flying.
They could fill the 321 out of Atlanta. I'm sure, especially because, like I said, like it's very flexible to have stopovers in Lisbon or Porto, and they've got a great network of connectivity all over Europe, so you can get pretty much anywhere. So that's a no-brainer right there.
Yeah, I love the good actual deals compared to the other stuff that shows up in your inbox, and you're like, that's not like up to 15% off, up to 20% off. Like, come on, people. Oh, non-refundable, non-changeable. Yeah, let me book a hotel room for August of next year that I know. Like, who knows if you can use that or not? You know, like what?
All right, well, that was all the way back to that listener question. That was from our Slack community, as we talked about. There's a lot of great reasons to join. There's another one coming up that we're going to talk about in just a second. This week's episode is sponsored again by Thrifty Traveler Premium. A couple of deals I got this week: a $499 round trip flight to Europe with stopovers in Iceland, 45,000 miles one way from Chicago to London in United Business Class, which is just a screaming deal, and a nerd alert, which we'll talk about in a minute. But whenever I mention to someone normal that I found a great deal to use miles, the next question is almost always, how did you find it? And, you know, you and I are nerds and we keep an eye on all this stuff, and there's all these services and we're picking around at stuff. But, you know, when it's so common to see 150,000 mile one-way business class tickets to Europe right now, getting deals delivered to your inbox makes life so much easier. And that's what Thrifty Traveler Premium does. Miles to Go followers can enjoy 10% off their first year when they sign up using the code GO10, GO10, and you'll also be supporting the show by supporting one of our sponsors. You can select to receive deals from just your home airport or any range of airports. And I mentioned nerd alerts. They did have a nerd alert this week, and man, it's tempting. This is the whole, like, I wish I had a little bit more free time in my schedule. It was 15,000 miles, 15,000 points one way, and you're going to go, well, why would you do this? Between the Bahamas and Grand Cayman, which is only about a 500-mile flight. But it's in business class on the British Airways 777 that they island hop around the Caribbean. And I'm like, all right, that could be kind of fun. Definitely a very nerdy thing to do.
Yep. I remember looking at those British Airways island hoppers. I think Virgin Atlantic might have one as well.
So does Air France. Like to their islands, like Martinique and Guadeloupe and places like that. Yeah. Port-au-Prince. Yeah, they got like they got a milk run, and Air France has a milk run too.
That'd be a lot of fun. And then I think my personal favorite about Thrifty Traveler Premium, unlimited departure airport searches. So
I just opened that wide up.
Yeah.
And then the other reason why you want to think about joining the Slack community, we are going to be giving away some free memberships to Thrifty Traveler Premium. So for the folks that are listening to the Slack community that haven't heard about that yet, we will be publishing that soon.
and you'll have a chance to win a handful of free memberships to Thrifty Traveler Premium. The last two topics on our docket before we get out of here, we've got to talk about Southwest and lounge access, which is sort of like the Twilight Zone. Before we talk about that, I got to tell you, man, like you've finally put the hook in. Like you got me good. I have not signed up for Bilt Dining yet. And, I've been hitting my card hard for the 2x points that you guys announced for this month's rent day. But on December 1st, I can earn 16 points per dollar for dining. It's 10 points per dollar for Bilt Dining with any credit card, or it's 16 points per dollar if I use my Bilt Mastercard on December 1st at any restaurant in the Bilt Dining program. And you've been nice enough to put DC on the list of cities. I just have to hope there's a restaurant that doesn't make me drive all the way to DC.
No, I think it goes out to the suburbs. I've had a few folks,
so.
Like Sparkle Mike, talk about some restaurants that are, I think, out closer to you. But so part of our rent day this month is a pretty wide open window for 10x at all Bilt Dining restaurants. If you don't know how the program works, you can link any credit or debit card to the Bilt wallet in the Bilt app.
Mm-hmm.
That's your Amex Gold. If you want 4x Amex points, whatever you want on there. On top of that, we're going to give you 10x Bilt points. And again, if you're thinking like, hey, this is Rewards Network of Dining, like, no, it's not. We gone out and we have figured the best, some of the best restaurants in now 20 markets that it's open to. And that's the thing that we get comment back and forth all the time. Is, hey, these are actually places that I want to eat at. So on December 1st, with double points for rent day, 3x dining becomes 6x on your Bilt Mastercard, and then 10x on top of that for our December 1st rent day. Yeah, I'm going to go to Atlanta. Emily and I are going to go to dinner because, like, 16x Bilt points is just too good of a deal to pass up.
Yeah.
If you want to go up there. Or 10x Bilt points plus whatever you want. Because, again, link any debit or credit card to the wallet. We actually give you 100 points for the first 3 that you link to the Bilt wallet. So get your 300 extra points in there and make out like a bandit, man. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and I mean, 10x is still excellent if you don't have the Bilt credit card. So last article to talk about is, this article from Gary at View from the Wing, talking about the fact that Southwest is now going to be testing lounge access for credit card customers. This took me by surprise. I guess it shouldn't have, because Southwest is more and more becoming an airline that caters to the business traveler. But I'm curious what your opinion is on this.
Yeah, it's interesting because other airlines have openly said, like American, like, we're not really worried about business travel anymore. Like, whereas American is like, what can we do to get the business travel? It's via Priority Pass is what it looks like, which I think Priority Pass is just limited of value here in the U.S. Certainly some good options, but just not the best. And in so many airports, I feel like that Southwest would fly in and out of that are not going to have a lounge access option anyway. So
a bunch of them are, but like I think a great example is Las Vegas, where like the club there is part of the network. And I mean, just from my perspective, I mean, setting aside the Centurion Lounge, which has a really lovely line out front that people like to stand in.
You'd love to see the line all day long.
The United Club is incredibly uninspiring at that airport. I think every club I've been in at that airport, other than Centurion Lounge, is uninspiring. It's fine. It's a quiet place with a little bit of food and and the club, they just rebuilt it. It's a little bit bigger now, a little bit nicer. I would put it on par with what I would get from a United Club, which is sort of like a sandwich and a free soda.
Yeah, I mean, same with like with the both clubs and MCO, like perfectly fine. We use them all the time. Last time I took a shower at the club at MCO before I flew to London from there. That was well worth having. It looks like the details here that Gary has on his site over at View from the Wing says later this month, Southwest will offer a small group of customers access to a Priority Pass membership, which will allow them and up to 2 guests access to the network of Priority Pass airport lounges. Eligible customers will receive full details, but should a customer inquire? Yeah, it is. So it looks like be on the lookout if you're part of these folks that are going to be getting the test here. And it looks like you got to have a Southwest credit card is the way that it's going. So
I thought that part was interesting. I thought that they would look at folks who bought more of like the business fares.
I was about to say, don't you want to pick your most highest spending business travelers and let them try this out?
Right. I mean, maybe they're targeting folks who own the business credit card. That's the only thing I can think of too.
I imagine the credit card is what's funding this test, and it's kind of hard for Southwest to go out and fund it themselves without that. So maybe
I agree. Maybe but they've got the whatever. I know there's a bunch of different levels of cards, but they got the whatever Premier or Performance or one of those P letters business credit card. So I mean that would make sense to be the one that they would market this to.
Yeah, I'd look if you're an average Southwest flyer, now you're going to have Priority Pass membership included. And then I mean like that's a big yay. It's not like a no, but that would be awesome. Even better if you include the restaurants and all the other stuff.
with lower A-list requirements, they're really doing things to cater to frequent travelers, which is just a very interesting thing to think of because it was, I liken back to the Southwest days where it was a punch card and you get 16 punches and you get a free ticket. So
I think Southwest has a lot going for it. Again, flew it all the time. It was the airline choice when the babies were babies when flying with them, and it's really worth taking another look at. The only thing that dissuades me is it seems to me that they have a real problem with people abusing the pre-boarding by just saying that you need a wheelchair. Like, you've seen the pictures recently. It seems to be coming up more and more recently with pictures where it's like 60 people with a wheelchair. And then when they get there, nobody needs a wheelchair to get off the plane because they can just.
They're all
so it's like, I don't know how you enforce something like that, but that would be a bummer if you're an A-list and you're like, boarding spot A2 and you're like the 40th person to get on the plane. That's not. Yeah, that's going to be annoying.
I still think. I still think the beauty of their seating, just makes it so much easier not to have to worry about fighting for seating assignments, which is a struggle on all the other airlines. So I still think even if there were 30 people who were miraculously healed during flight, I still think I'd find seats together with my family. And on a 737-700, which they have a lot of and a lot on order, I'll take any 4 seats you got that are together. So not
straight to the back row. That was the place we went. It was always open and it became the routine, man. I should really take a look at Southwest. I
just wish they hadn't. Yeah, if they hadn't canceled Dulles MCO, like that was my jam when I had the companion pass. And I don't mind national, but it's just so easy to fly out of Dulles. It's 19 minutes from my house and through security quick and away we go. So
that is not the case for Atlanta anymore. Nothing is quick thanks to checkpoints.
I'm not sure you can get through security in 19 minutes at Atlanta.
Not anymore, man. I tell you what, it is a significant problem and they're gonna have to address it. I got so irritated. We were driving up to the campsite on Friday and the sports radio station in Atlanta that I listened to, who's fantastic, they were doing live broadcasting from the Atlanta airport. Actually, was just driving up to my brother's on Thanksgiving. No, God, I can't remember. Sometime last week, we were supposed to be the busiest travel day. So obviously, the Atlanta airport said, you guys come down and do the live show from the airport. And they had at one point the assistant GM of the airport get on there and just spew utter falsehoods and nonsense to try and talk about how awesome the Atlanta airport is. Look, I think if you're a connecting passenger there, it's fantastic. The terminals make sense. The plane train works. People complain about it. I don't know why. As a connecting passenger, it's the easiest. Like it is the easiest thing in the world. Everything is numbered sequentially. There's none like you go to like O'Hare and you're like landing terminal C and you got to get to terminal 5 and you're like, would that be left or right? Like, where am I going here? How do I get from? Whereas when you land in Atlanta, you land in D and you got to get to B. It's pretty obvious which way to go. But if you're originating in Atlanta, the way that they have set up these checkpoints now, you have for the world's busiest passenger airport, you have created choke points of a single pre-check line and a single general boarding line. And you're just designed to choke points. And it just absolutely drives me up the wall insane every single time I fly now, because over the last 5 years since I moved back to Atlanta, every decision that they have made has made it worse. And this is not me talking. This is me in the line with my fellow business travelers every single day. And we look at each other and go, why do they keep making this worse? And it just absolutely drives me up the wall. And when that guy got on there and was talking about how awesome and efficient it is, and I was just like, oh, I cannot stand this. I was getting
And look, I mean, it's definitely achievable to do with single access security points, because I think Orlando largely functions okay with massive crowds. They don't move anywhere near the number of passengers that Atlanta does, but they move them at peak times. And so I think, number of people through at peak times can be very similar in Orlando and Atlanta. And they just don't have those issues. They've got plenty of space, and they've got tons of lines, and they've got tons of security agents, and it just works. And I think to your point, Atlanta's a bottleneck waiting to happen. And I mean, unfortunately, it's kind of sort of starting to happen at Dulles now too, with Clear. But that's a topic for another day.
That's a topic for another day.
Before we get out of here, just quick notes. We are going to do a What's in Your Wallet episode. We might even try and drag on some friends for that one. Thanks, Nicole, for the suggestion. And the reminders as we wrap up the year, check your Amex offers. There are a bunch of good offers out during this whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday time period where you can get discounts on hotel bookings. Richard mentioned the Frontier one, which I hadn't heard of, but I've seen Marriott, IHG, Hilton. There's a lot of offers out there if you're booking travel. And then just a reminder, if you've got any of those year-end credits to use up, Saks, Fifth Avenue, Dell, all that stuff that I just almost never take the time to use up.
It's time to take a look.
Yeah.
Any travel for you this week, Mr. Kerr?
No, man, not until we're back in the camping trip next weekend. I'm working from home, Zoom in all day, every day.
I got one trip this week. I got to go to Chicago for something that's travel-related things that we're going to be talking about on the show very soon. That's all I can say.
Color me excited.
What color is that?
Excited.
All right, Mr. Kerr. Well, when we meet again, you'll have been camping, which means we'll have to adjust our schedule again because we don't record in the woods unless I'm there with you, and I'm never going to be there with you in the woods. But yeah, I don't think so. We'll have to figure out when we're recording this coming week with you out in the boonies. But I think this will be I got a Disney trip after this one, and then last plane of the year. So I got 2 planes left, 2 plane trips left. That's all I got. You got New York left, I bet. Maybe.
Yeah, I hope not, man. I hope not. But they're gonna.
So you might just have Disney left.
Yeah, I might just have Disney left.
All right. Well, we are winding down before beginning the craziness again in 2024. So lots more to come. We've got all the planning to do for 2024 when the counters reset to 0 and Richard tries to pick which of the 17 airlines he has to be sad with to continue with in 2025. All that and a whole lot more until we upload again. We've got miles to go.
Are you kind of a Grinch about Christmas, Dad?